One thing we can be sure of, we are going to meet many angry people in our lives, and what a gift it would be if we could help calm them down. Today, we're going to explore 5 steps that will help us deal with an angry person and calm them down. Stay tuned, because amongst them is one thing you should never, ever say to an angry person. Now, when it comes to calming down an angry person, here's the first thing I want to talk about before we get into any of the steps, and it's just about our relationship with anger itself. You see, there's a lot of judgment around the emotion of anger. And for many of us, we have grown up with the language that anger is bad. And that's not helpful. Anger is an emotion. And just like any other emotion, it serves a purpose. And one of the purposes that anger serves is to let us know that someone has got in our way when we're trying to reach a goal. And the anger comes from the reality that we're not quite able to reach the goal of what we want. I remember some research I recently looked at took place in a train station. And what happened was the person was rushing to catch a train. One of the subjects intervened to ask them a question, and the anger in their face almost arrived instantly. There's a perfect example of intervening in someone having a goal and anger coming. So the first step when it comes to calming down an angry person is to listen for clues, to be receptive. What we're trying to get in touch with here is to explore where this anger might be coming from. And it's not to make judgment to say that anger is bad or that anger is good, but rather it's to try and put on that scientist coat and to explore what might have triggered this emotion and what is the person truly angry about. Because if we can just listen, if we can listen to what started the anger, if we can listen to maybe some of the frustration of what the anger is about, we get better clues in what we can say to the person when they have calmed down a little bit, that we can initiate a conversation. So step number 1 is listen. Listen intently. Listen for triggers. Listen for what might have been lost. Listen for what the anger is all about. Step number 2 is stay calm. Now, that's easier said than done. When a person in front of us is angry and they're venting, it can be very difficult to stay calm. However, that's exactly what's required in that moment. You see, anger is one of those emotions that can quickly spiral out of control. And why anger sometimes leads to fights and vicious disagreements is because the anger feeds off the anger of another person. And so if a person is angry before us and we approach it with a calm demeanor, it lets the person know that we are present, that we are listening, but we're not feeding into that anger. Now, here is one thing you should never say. Just because you are calm and that's what's required, you should never say to another person who is in the midst of an angry fit to calm down, because very often that will enrage them even more. You see, what's happening is in that moment, they're angry and they want to vent. And so we have to let them vent in that moment. Now, if that's something difficult, I've got a little practical hack that might help you. You know, I've been in situations where I've had an angry person who's really spouting off in front of me. And what I try and do visually is see the words leaving their mouth and landing in the space before us. Sounds unusual, but really it's helpful, because really what we're seeing is that the words coming out of the mouth are not at me. It's rather the anger that's producing the words, and I can become curious about the words that have come out. It gives me a little bit of distance, and it helps me to remain calm in the moment. Step number 3 follows from step number 2, and that is don't personalize. You know, there's a concept that is called the refractory period. Now, what's that? The refractory period is a period of time that we go into whenever we are triggered and get angry. You see, so intense is the emotion at times of anger that all we can see, the only data that we're willing to receive, is anything that justifies our anger at that moment. And therefore we say things And perhaps sometimes we do things and we don't even realize it. What we're doing is trying to justify. Now, the worst thing we can do is to really take this as a personal attack and really personalize it. And the problem is, if we personalize it, that we ourselves can become very angry in that moment. So the important reminder is that the person being angry is saying things they are venting, and that we have to try our best to be calm and then also not to personalize it, to know that this is passing and there will be a moment when we can reflect in a deeper level about what's exactly happening, but perhaps it's not right at this moment. Step number 4 is to show empathy and to validate. Now, there's a confusion when it comes to validation. Sometimes people think, well, if I validate you, then I'm agreeing with everything you say. And that's not the case. Validation is really a show of empathy. It's really saying to the person, I understand. I understand what you are saying. I understand that you are hurt. I understand that you are angry. I understand perhaps some of the things you're saying that have led to this anger. I may not disagree with it, but that's okay. That's not important at the moment whether we agree or disagree. What is important is that we are showing the person that we have a level of understanding of what's happening with them. That's a wonderful way. When a person is angry, when they're hurt, a person's really crying out to understand that others around them understand the pain they're going through, understand the things that they're struggling with, and in some sense to be with them in it all. We don't have to agree, but what we do have to do is to validate what they're going through and to show empathy. Step number 5 is move to solutions. Now, there is a reason why this is step number 5. You should not move to solutions too early, because if you move to solutions too early, the person's just not ready to listen to it. Remember, I spoke about the refractory period, that when a person gets angry, that for a period of time, all they can see is anything that supports their anger. And until that period passes, a person is just not able to listen to potential solutions that will get them beyond their anger or will get them to the place that they want to be. But as soon as you begin to notice that the person is calming down, it's really wonderful to move to this 5th step. Because at the end of the day, the reason why the person had the emotion of anger was that something was getting in the way of their goal. And so what we can do is to perhaps explore some potential solutions. Now, this also has the ability of moving us to the more cognitive part of our brain and further distancing us from the emotion and helping us calm down a little bit more. Remember, don't move here too quickly, but as soon as you're beginning to see the person calming down, it can be a wonderful way to begin to change the arc of the conversation that you've had. One thing's for sure, there isn't a shortage of anger in the workplace or at home or in our lives in general. What a wonderful skill, therefore, we can bring to our community and our workplaces and our homes to be better able to deal and calm down angry people. I invite you today to explore those 5 steps and to make some comments below. If you have practiced with the 5 steps, let me know any questions that you might have on dealing and calming down angry people. If you've enjoyed this episode, I also invite you to watch another episode which specifically talks about dealing with anger within ourselves and how to calm ourselves down.